Hello everyone, today I bring you the DX Knight Invoker Buckle and Breakam Buster set. This is what I'm going to be reviewing today. This is the special set of the Knight Invoker Buckle plus the Breakam Buster. This just puts everything in one box instead of having to buy them individually. Now let us have a quick look at the box real quick. On the front you'll see Nox Knight alongside the Knight Invoker Buckle and the Breakam Buster in its two mode, which is the gun mode and the sword mode. You'll also see the two Capsem included, which are the Erase Capsem and the Void Capsem. Taking a look at the first side of the box, what you're gonna see is the content of the box, which includes the Knight Invoker Buckle itself, the Breakam Buster, its two part, which is the blade part and the handle part, and the two Capsem included. Moving quickly along to the back, you'll see the instruction manual on how to play with the toys, on how you swap the faceplate, how you activate the Knight Invoker, and all the instruction manual that has to do with the Breakam Buster right here. Feel free to pause the video if you want a closer look. Moving along to the third side, you will see Nox Knight and the Breakam Buster in its two mode, which is the gun mode and the sword mode. Moving along to the top real quick, you will see the Knight Invoker Buckles and the Breakam Buster right here. Now quickly back to the front. Now let us go and have a look at what's inside the box. Let's go take a closer look. Once you open up the box, what you're going to get is the Knight Invoker Buckle itself, two Capsem, which are the Void Capsem and the Erase Capsem, and the two part of the Breakam Buster, the handle part and the blade part. So now I'm gonna go take a look at the Knight Invoker Buckle first alongside the two Capsem, and then we'll have a closer look at the Breakam Buster. Alright, now let's go and have a closer look at the Knight Invoker. Alright, now let us have a quick look at the Knight Invoker Buckle. The Knight Invoker Buckle is essentially just a replacement faceplate for the Zeztz driver. Now let us have a quick look at the detail real quick. So you'll see some very nicely painted golden part right there. And if we flip around to the back, you'll see the two connectors needed to connect this thing to the Zeztz driver. Now I'm gonna bring in the Zeztz driver real quick to show you how to swap the faceplate. So you simply take the Zeztz driver, and I find it easiest to pry it from this part. There's a little gap here, and simply just pry out the faceplate, and then pry the other side. It's a little hard to do this on camera. And then simply pop off the faceplate. Now you take the Knight Invoker Buckle, you line up with the two connector right here on either side. So simply line it up. Now this will look a little awkward on camera because of the fact that I can't really see well what I'm doing, but you simply line it up and then click into place, like so. Now you have the Knight Invoker. So as many of you have guessed, since this one used the Zeztz driver as a base, it essentially is just the Zeztz driver with a new faceplate on top of it. To remove it, you simply pry it off, starting from this side, and then pry off the other side, and then just pop it up. And reinsert the old faceplate, simply take that, put it in, click it into place. And we're back with the Zeztz driver. Now let us take a look at the two included Capsem, starting with the Void Capsem, because this is essentially just an empty Capsem with nothing inside of it. This is essentially a blank version of the Capsem used by Kamen sets. So the shell and everything like that is exactly the same. Here is the pinout for it if you're curious. But yeah, this is essentially just the Zeztz Capsem with nothing inside of it. Now let's get on to the actually interesting one, which is the Erase Capsem. This is a Capsem used by Nox to transform into Nox Knight. Now the design of this one is very different to that of the one used by Kamen Zeztz. Here is a closer look at all the detail. Now a quick look of the animation. Here in the animation we could see what looks like a nightmare, essentially erasing all of the color in the world. Now here is the Impact Capsem for comparison. The brighter color just makes it easier to see. Alright then, let us go and have a look at the Breakam Buster next. Now let us take a closer look at the Breakam Buster. Starting real quick with the blade part. Here is a closer look at all the detail. Here is the connector, there's going to be two of them. And if you look inside, you'll see this orange part here. If you push on it, it will actually cause this part to pop open, like so. Here's a look at what's inside the gun barrel right here. And sadly, it's not painted the same way on this side. Now let us have a quick look at the handle part. Some of you might recognize that this is essentially the same as that of the Breakam Zetzers. Now this is actually a cool nod a little bit into the show, so I will not say what, but it's a cool little nod for something related to the show. So let us have a quick look at the detail. Here's what it looks like. Nicely painted orange right here. And this is the socket for the Capsem. And if you look closer on the inside, you'll see that there is no reader in here, so it can't read any of the Capsem. Flipping to the back side, you will see this switch here. This is what allows the Capsem to be released, and this switch here is what allows the blade part to be released. And we have the speaker right here, and the battery compartment and the pull tab. If you pull it, it doesn't announce its name, sadly. I'll just put this in for the explanation's sake, and then we'll see more of the sound in a bit. Alright, I want to add a quick note on how you combine this. So I'll first close the blade up, so you just push it in. And to combine this, as you can see, there are two sockets here. There is in fact a way to combine it wrong. So let's get started with the blade mode first, or the sword mode. So for the sword mode, you use this socket right here and connect it to this part, like so. Now for the gun mode, you take this socket here, this socket right here, and connect it to this part. So, and then the barrel will pop open. Now the reason why I said it's possible to combine this wrong is because it's possible for you to take, instead of using the top connector, using this front connector instead. If you use the front connector and then combine it with this socket here, it will affect, this socket I meant, if you use the front connector combined with this socket, you get this weird half a gun sort of sight looking mode, but this will not play any new sound. So for the Breakam Buster, you only use the top connector and you do not use the bottom one at all. So for the sword mode, once again, this top connectors go into here, go into this connector. Here we have the sword mode. And then for the gun mode, once again, top connector to this port right here. Alright, now that we have seen a quick overview of everything, let us now get to the play feature of this toy, starting with the Knight Invoker and then ending with the Breakam Buster. Alright, let's go! Now that we have seen all the gimmicks and features of the Night Invoker and the Breakam Buster, let us get to the final conclusion, starting with the pros and then the cons, followed by the final score. Now the conclusion will be a little different than usual. For the conclusion, I'll be treating the Night Invoker plus Erase Capsem and the Breakam Buster plus the Void Capsem as two separate products and give it two separate conclusions. This way it's easier for those who want to buy the product separately. So for those who wants to buy just the Night Invoker plus the Erase Capsem, or those who just want to buy the Breakam Buster, will have an easier time understanding the conclusion. So now I'm going to start first with the Night Invoker alongside the Erase Capsem. I'll move this out of the way real quick. Let's see. The first and biggest pros of the Night Invoker is the fact that it uses the Zeztz driver as the base. This means that you get all the playability of the Zeztz driver, since it's nothing more than just a literal faceplate for the Zeztz driver. So this means you don't suffer from the reduced playability that happens with the secondary rider build. But this also leads me perfectly to the biggest con of the Night Invoker buckle, which is that you need a Zeztz driver. Making the Night Invoker a pretty expensive purchase, you will need to spend around $45 plus another $18 for the Night Invoker, totaling $63 in total. Thus it's a pretty big purchase, but it's a cool addition if you already have the Zeztz driver. As such, I've decided to give this a final score of 5 out of 10. Because of the fact that since this is literally just a faceplate swap, you don't lose any of the playability out at all. And if you already own the Zeztz driver, and since you're watching this review, you may or may not have already owned it, I would say this is a pretty cool addition to have. And now let us move on to the Breakam Buster. The first and main pro of the Breakam Buster is that it's a 2-in-1 weapon, meaning you get two modes right out of the box. You get a sword mode, and you get a blaster mode to go and pew pew with. That is the first main pros of this toy, is the fact that it's a 2-in-1 weapon. You get a sword and you get a gun, giving it quite a lot of playability out of the box. The second pro is the fact that this is what I would consider a complete package. You get the weapon itself, and alongside one Capsem needed to activate the finisher. So making this box a pretty complete purchase, and you get everything that you need to play with the toys right out of the box, meaning you don't have to go around buying extra toys, extra Capsem, or so on and so forth. What you get is all you will need to play with the toy. Now let us get to the con. And the main con of this toy is the fact that this exists. The Breakam Zetzers. The thing is, the Breakam Zetzers and the Breakam Busters are priced exactly the same. They are priced 100% the same on the Bandai website. And so this, I feel, just gives you a lot more than this. On the Breakam Zetzers, you get 4 different modes instead of 2 here. Moreover, you also get lights on top of the sound. This one, you only get the sound, you don't get any light with it whatsoever. And as such, I feel like this is just straight up a better toy. Another thing is the included Capsem. For the Breakam Buster, what you get is the Void Capsem, which is literally a blank Capsem. It doesn't really do much inside the Zeztz driver, and there's even a warning on the back of the box saying like, oh, this Capsem doesn't actually do anything. It's not broken or anything, okay? That's actually what it's supposed to do. Meaning that effectively this Capsem is really only good for using it to activate the finisher and not really playing with the belt at all. So what you get in this box is, for the same price as the Breakam Zetzers, you get 2 modes with no LED and a Capsem that doesn't do anything inside the Zeztz driver. Meanwhile, the Breakam Zetzers, you get 4 modes, you get some cool LED, and you get the Machinery Capsem, which unlocks new sound inside the Zeztz driver. This is the main cons with the Breakam Zetzer, it's just the value. It's just not that good. mainly because of the fact that the Breakam Zeztz exists. Now let's get to the final score. The final score for this one, I have settled on a 4.5 out of 10. Now the thing is, this is not a bad toy in its own per se. 2-in-1 Kamen weapons are basically the norm for the most part. Many Kamen weapons are a 2-in-1 weapon. But the thing is, back to this thing, this exists for the same price. Literally for the same price, 100% the same price. Just as a note, this is pricing based on Bandai official website. You just get so much more of this. You get 4 different modes. Sure, one of them is a little funky. I'm still not entirely sure how this is considered as a sight, but that's beside the point. 4 motor is still 4 modes. So for the same price, you get 4 different modes on this one. You get LED, and you get a Capsem that actually plays new sound. As such, I have a really hard time recommending these toys unless you really like the design of the toys, you're a fan of Kamen Nox, because or you already own the Breakam Zeztz, then this might be a cool addition to have, but honestly it's just as easy to skip. The Capsem isn't that relevant. This one, it's cool. I'm definitely willing to give it that, but the value is just pretty weak. Now, if this thing were to, let's say, magically not exist, then maybe this would be more okay, because this is still priced in line with what normal Kamen weapon would be priced at. So now let us bring everything back together and go for one last recap. Okay, let's start with the Night Invoker plus the Race Capsem. This one I gave a final score of 5 out of 10. A cool addition to have, and if you already own the Zeztz driver, I would say, yeah, it's worth picking up. It really doesn't do much other than a faceplate swap, making it a cool looking faceplate, and you get a whole new Capsem that unlocks new sound on the belt. So overall, I say 5 out of 10, and it's something that I would recommend if you like Nox or if you just like the design. Now, it might be a little tougher pill to swallow if you don't already own the Zeztz driver, because, well, you have to buy the Zeztz driver. But I feel like the Zeztz driver is a good toy to have to. So overall, 5 out of 10, I would recommend this if you like the design or if you like Nox. Definitely a cool addition. Now let's just have a quick recap with the Breakam Buster, sorry. This one is a 4.5 out of 10 and a suit yourself recommendation, leaning slightly to the void side. The main problem with this is that this exists. If you already own the Breakam Zeztz, I still don't think it's justified to buy this one, because you only get 2 modes of it and you get a Capsem that doesn't do salt. So overall, if you really like the design or if you really like Nox, I'd say it's an okay toy to have. But if you don't have any weapon from this series yet, go and pick up the Breakam Zeztz. It's a much better value, and you actually get a Capsem that does something with it. And that concludes this review of the Night Invoker plus the Breakam Buster. Overall, I would say it's a pretty cool addition to have, but yep, that's my conclusion. Alright, thank you so much everyone for watching this review and listening to me ramble about toys. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and don't forget to come back for more Kamen Zeztz review. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye, and good night everyone. Don't forget to take care of yourself now. Bye bye.